Welcome to another episode of the Shooters Roll, the basketball media brand made by fans for the fans. And I am here with the ultimate fans. My boy T, how's it going?
Good, man. Just enjoying the playoffs at the moment, so ready to get into it.
Yeah.
Analytics, everything the fans are saying out there on social media, and then this discussion with you guys.
Sweet. And Jay's back on the mic there. How's it going?
What's up, D-Swizzle? What's going on, man? Pretty good, bro. Finally, missed you guys, man. Finally get to do some playoff talk.
Oh, mate. Heart, bro. Heart. That's
all
what's
heart.
about, mate.
It's all heart, yeah.
All heart, mate. You know, this is the 40th episode of the Shooters Roll, so let's get right into it. First of all, let's talk about the Western Conference and the semis between the Nuggets and the Clippers that concluded recently, going down to the Game 7 conclusion. Now, Jay's acting all smug because he did make a prediction that that the Nuggets would actually get up in this series. And the backstory is, even though I chose the Nuggets right from day one, I did a bit of a flip-flop because of the matchup, and now I've got egg on my face, and now I'm back on the Nuggets to take out the title. So, you know what? People make mistakes, and I'll be the first one to put my hand up saying, I'm human, I make mistakes. So I don't look, these boys just sniggering away. Like, any comments about this flip-flop? Let's just get it out of the way first, all right? Go.
I told you the Clippers would be gone. I said, to be honest, the way Denver has been playing throughout the playoffs, you just cannot ignore how they're playing as a team. They've utilized who they've utilized accordingly, and they've made the proper adjustments to the proper plays. I mean, when I saw that, and I watched it live, mind you, so when I saw that, and I sort of see playoff P and Kawhi do their thing, and I'm thinking, this is not going to work out. This is not going to work out because the two main boys are not performing. But you need to really step it up, and those two, if they don't perform, the rest of their cast is not going to really do anything. So as I predicted, Denver, but I think it was Denver in 6, right? But I said, but it doesn't matter, Denver still won. So how about you, T? What's your take?
Yeah, I didn't rate any of those teams, but so personally, that's my best opinion, right? But I remember I said that the Clippers will sweep. Just looking at them, they were clicking, and then Denver struggled to get through to Utah, and I thought fatigue and being in the bubble would actually affect them more, but yeah, I was wrong. That was the only time I really went for the other LA team. I haven't really acknowledged them all year, as D-Swizzle has remembered. Every podcast, you can look at every podcast, I've never really said anything about them. They're the other LA team. No love at all. But when I gave them love, and then I predicted a sweep, they couldn't close. Game 5 and game 6, they got 16 and 19 point leads, and they couldn't close. And then they had ultimately the one of the best closers in the game in Kawhi. And then his sidekick, as in playoff P. But I basically couldn't believe that the Clippers couldn't win. Even watching Game 7, I had it on the background. I didn't really take it seriously until I saw in the fourth quarter they were down by nearly double digits, and then I started to pay attention. I go, how could this happen? They had playoff aspirations. So
yeah. You made mention of it. It's the I don't want to use the word choke, but they had 3 opportunities to close out the Nuggets. Game 5, like you mentioned, had a 16-point lead, wasted it. Game 6, 19-point lead. All right, that's a commanding lead, wasted it. Game 7, they were up by 12 at the half, and then the Nuggets caught fire in the third quarter, going on a 35-13 run, and then taking quite substantial lead into the fourth, and there we go. There's the series. And props to the Nuggets. The first time in NBA history that a team has twice come back from a 3-1 deficit in the postseason. quite unheard of, led by their two leading stars in Jamal Murray, who hit 40 in Game 7, and Nikola Jokic, who is my MVP pick from the start of the season, getting a triple-double in the Game 7. But he has really turned up. I mean, Games 5, 6, 7, and 7 he had 16 points, 22 rebounds, and 13 assists, just commanding attention. They were doubling him up. So the Clips actually were doubling him up and making Murray beat them, which is quite contrary to, what I thought that they would do was, focus in on Murray. And but, it goes to show that this up-and-coming team are serious, and, they're really making a run at the title this year and for future years. They've got such a good young team.
Absolutely.
Such a good young team. Even their role players that did their part in this series. Jeremy Grant, Gary Harris has finally shown up.
Yeah.
And MPJ. So, props to the supporting cast for doing their part in this series. And Nuggets 4, Clippers 3. Unbelievable.
They play with a sense of urgency, which the Clippers did not play with. I mean, like I said, to be honest, when I heard this all year about the Nuggets being, oh wow, look at them on paper, they're so great on paper. They're great on paper, but to execute their players when it counts is what matters the most. And this is where it matters the most. This is the playoffs. This is what you've been playing all year for. So for me, Denver, really, hats off to them. Really, they've done so well. But next round, I'm sorry, but yeah, it's done. So.
Before we do get on to the next round in the Western Conference Finals, I mean, the popcorn stats are there. Like, the two stars from both teams in the series, they got their numbers, but it all comes down to, winning the series, execution. Yep. And, Kawhi got his 24 points a game, 8.5 boards, close to 6 assists a game, and incredibly 2.3 steals per game in the whole series. And PG didn't have a bad series, nearly 22 points, 5.5 boards, and 3.5 assists. But at the end of the day, fell short.
That's right. And you know what? I think Kawhi realized something.
What did he realize?
He didn't need a doc. He needed a nurse.
Wow. How long? Wow. Wow. Drop. Right, that's
come on. You like that joke? You like that joke?
Wow. This is dad joke.
Dad 101.
Central. Well done.
Start taking notes. You're about to be in the same club.
Mate, well done on that call. Well done.
Hey, let's put out some facts, right? Doc Rivers. This is his third time giving up a 3-1 lead.
Yeah.
So that's another stat. Paul George has never really won in the playoffs, being one of the main guys. And he had an alter ego, playoff P versus pandemic P. So it's tough, but that's what the media outlets are calling the pandemic P. So
yeah. Well, look, let's go into the depth of this issue further. The Clippers went all in at the start of the season to get these two players in. Spent respectively $140 million on Kawhi to get him into the team through free agency. Paul George came at a bigger cost at $144 million plus 5 first-round picks. Now going to Oklahoma City. And the reality is they've got what could be one season left because of the player options that both hold for the third year. It's going to be interesting unless they dial it back and get over the hump next season. What's going to happen with these two players? Unless, they buy into Doc and the Clippers going forward beyond next season. The Clippers can offer them the contract extension for them to continue on with the team. But, I mean, the Clippers have really, really put themselves in a corner with how much they've spent on these two players coming good. And unfortunately, first go around the block, not so good.
At the moment, to be honest, I'm starting to see Paul George not as a Batman, not even as a Robin now. I think he's starting to look like an Alfred. So I think they may have to get another.
What are you saying, man? Alfred's cool.
Alfred's cool, but like he ain't Batman or Robin, so he's just there to clean up the mess. So by the looks of it, they may have to go somewhere else, or else it's either Doc's next going to be on the line. I mean, something has to change.
Yeah.
So
He came third in MVP voting last year. So the players that they bought that PG, right?
Yeah.
And the second thing was Kawhi wasn't going to come with that PG. So it's 1 year. This is the thing. Well, I guess we discussed earlier in the year where if you don't win, you blow it up.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if you're a true Clippers fan, you're like, okay, cool. We didn't make it. We wanted to win the championship. It's just a day and nature of everyone just wanting things straight away. The millennial attitude where we want to win now. If we don't win now, we're losers. So, just acknowledging against the Clippers, they had a good year, and they never really had those minutes to play together. Sure, they had 2 6-man candidates of the year, but those two guys were the worst offenders on defense. Everyone just attacked them. Like you think about Lou Williams when he's on the court. Denver's game plan was attack him.
Lemon Pepper Lou, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and the other thing was Monchos. Like when he's on the court, they attacked him. Like it was set plan, probably on the whiteboard, top of the list. These two guys on the court, attack him every time. And what happened every time they attack him is 2 points. 2 points foul or leads to a score because they basically couldn't stay in front of their players.
But this all goes to Mike Malone doing a great job in breaking down their opponent, because on paper they don't have the star caliber talent that the upper echelon of the Clippers have, right?
That's right.
But they put it together. This is my only concern heading into the next round. And Jay, I know you're going to focus in on this next part. Is the Nuggets have given up sizable leads in the last 3 games, and this is what concerns me. Is firstly, I thought in the first game where they got blown out, I thought similarly to you, fatigue, right? But it's becoming a trend where they're giving up really big leads, and they're relying upon their firepower to get them back in the game. But it's a dangerous way to play, giving
Russian roulette. It is. It's Russian roulette,
right? And could they do it against the Lakers? Jay, let's preview the Western Conference Finals. What do you reckon?
It is a dangerous thing, but the thing I can see here is that they thrive on that. Like that's their juice, and I can see so far that they love it. Like so far, apart from for the first game, but I don't really count the first game because they've had very minimal time. They had to rest and fatigue kicked in. Okay, I'll give them that. But you cannot do that against the Lakers. The Lakers have got game plans galore. They've got three head coaches. Okay, so they've got Jason Kidd, they've got LeBron James, and they've got Vogel. So they got good basketball heads. Plus you add Rondo. You cannot afford to do that. You need to take your lead, hold it for the entire time, and just capitalize. But yeah, they need to sort of hold those leads, because it's not going to happen against the Lakers. The Lakers are going to capitalize, 100%.
Steve,
thoughts on the matchup coming up in the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah, Ajay, you mentioned that the Lakers only have three head coaches. How about the assistant coaches? Where's the love? Lionel Hollins, Phil Handy.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about like the big, the monster heads, the 3 guys. They're the guys who are calling the shots, if you think about it.
Okay.
Not to show any less love to the assistant coaches, but they're the main ones. They're the ones who are going to execute it. So,
yeah. I think with the Lakers coming in and seeing how Denver has responded, coming back from 2-3-1 deficits, the Lakers are going to be really focused. They're not going to take any games for granted. They're going to come in focused because they're literally been sitting on the sideline for nearly a week now, just watching the series and breaking it down. I'm pretty sure the Lakers have been prepping to play the Clippers since the 3-1 lead, and now they just flipped the script and looking at Denver, right? You know, there's news outlets talking about this is the easiest run for LeBron to make to the finals and win the championship. Because this is one of the things that I'm hearing. But Denver, to their own thing, they came back 3-1 2 times. You know, like I personally win them off against Utah, and again for the Clippers, and then both the times they come back. You think about every year there's a champion, things have to go right. So Denver has nothing to lose. There was a key moment in Game 7 after they won. TNT or ESPN were interviewing both stars, Murray and the Joker, and they asked them like, how are you going to guard LeBron? How are you going to guard AD? Their answer was, they have to guard us too. That was the perfect answer. You know, that's not showing disrespect. It's just focusing on themselves. So they have a team where you can feel their teamwork and being together in the bubble, right? And we'll touch on it further, like with Miami, and I see that with Miami too. That those are the two teams where I feel that they have their stars on they're tinkering on becoming superstars, and then they're clicking at the right time.
And that's it, isn't it? It's peaking for the big games, and
that's right.
No doubt that, you know, both Jokic and Murray came out of the blocks really quickly, but now, you know, Jokic, he's come to play now. He's a serious threat, with the ball, without the ball.
Triple threat.
Yeah,
triple threat.
No doubt. And, you know, the Lakers are going to have to be on their game, because the way I've been viewing the Nuggets games are, the whole team does come out to play. Similarly with Miami, the whole team comes out to play.
That's right.
And with the Lakers, I do see that they're still, and this might be, you know, the downfall, they're still relying upon their two big superstars primarily. And that's the way I've viewed the games. But Jay, where do you see that this matchup will be won, where it will be lost?
That's a very good question. To be honest, I'm not quite sure where it's going to be headed, because they've got it's a perfect matchup from small to big. So, but I think it will be won through the bench. I'm going to say that, because whoever comes off the bench for the Lakers needs to bring the energy on the court, and I'm not quite sure who they're going to use. Are they going to go deep? Are they going to really utilize Dion and JR? Because if you think about it, the starting five versus starting five is there. Of course, LeBron has to play his game, of course, but I think it'll be one through the bench. But I want to see the Lakers go deep with their bench. I mean, they've got firepower right there, and I think they need to utilize it. Not just with Dwight, but I think with JR and Dion. I mean, those guys, I haven't really seen them much, but I think they need to utilize them for this round.
Thoughts on that, T? You're the Laker boy. You're the fan boy.
These guys are just replacements that were added to the end of the bench for nice haves, right? Yeah, like usually during the playoffs, teams will tighten up the rotation, which Lakers did in the first round. And the second round, they had to play a bit deeper because of the amount of days on. They played every second day.
And also the matchup with Houston.
Yeah, and then you think about with the Lakers, their big men are urging to play. They got the Joker, so Howard and McGee would usually be on them. They haven't played much in the last series, so they're really there.
That's right.
I'm not sure if there's minutes for RJ.
JR.
If you want me to play, I'll play if you want.
For JR, and they picked those two guys up last, just as a nice haves. They're throwing them in when the games are in question. Remember, the two games were against Portland, game 1, and also the Rockets game 1, when they were down big. They threw them in just to see what they can do, because they're streaky shooters and streaky scorers. But I think with the game line, they're not going to really use those guys. They have the rotation set out.
I mean, this is what LeBron peaks and trains for, is playing longer minutes now, right?
That's right.
You know, I did see the stat that, you know, in the last series, Murray was playing 40 minutes a game. Jokic was playing close to 38 minutes a game. You know, your superstars now
Of course.
of the team are going to start playing their minutes. But I do understand starters need time to breathe, to have a breather, and this is where the game can be won or lost.
But
this is where LeBron works out all year in his off season. This is what he does, right? So he's a professional. He ramps up his season as the season goes, because the bubble is kind of interrupted his normal sessions, and like he tapers up and then it tapers down for the playoffs, you know, and then it takes a foot off the accelerator with his training. So I think that they will rely on the starters more. I remember the first round, I guess the media was saying that Portland, how can they stop Dame time? But they didn't focus on how can they stop AD? How can they stop LeBron? So if you get those two pillars to score at least 50 to 60 points a game, or the Lakers fall into place, and it's really hard to beat. I think once again the focus should be stopping the Joker. Murray's going to get his points because they don't really have any the personnel to stop him due to Avery Bradley not coming to the bubble. They can't really slow him down. I think he's going to average at least 30-40 points.
I mean,
really?
No, ideally, you'd want to play LeBron on him, bigger body, you know, disrupt the shot, but you don't want LeBron tired chasing Murray around. Yeah.
I think Alex might put him on him.
Yeah. They might put him on in the last couple of minutes if they need a big stop.
Yeah.
So but they wouldn't have him on all game. So yeah, he'll average big numbers, and he needs to for Denver to have a spot. Yeah. Ajay?
Yeah.
I think Alex and Kyle has to play a really big role here in guarding Murray. But you got to think as well with LeBron in terms of your point, Dex. You know, it is year 17. I'm not downplaying LeBron. It's just you have to play smart, not play hard. So, yeah, your minutes will increase, but you got to use your minutes wisely of when you're needed the most. But when you're not, then you can just sub off, because they need him when it's required. You know what I mean? And it's year 17. It is LeBron, I understand, but remember there is one more round after this, so we don't want to be gassed out. So, like I said, that's why I said to go deep on the bench, because they will need them. They will need what they did to Portland, to Dame, they did to Murray and to Jokic. Because the rest of the guys, I don't see the rest beating LA with any of the other guys, to be honest with you. It's only those two.
Look, I'm going to throw Here we go. I think that Michael Porter Jr. is going to come to his own in this round. I really do.
I like this. All right.
I do. I reckon this is the statement round for him. Big opponent. He's a big body. I think there's, he'll definitely be marked up on LeBron in terms of
the same position,
pound for pound. Yeah. I think this is it's time for Michael Porter Jr. to back up the words. He said
it's going to be intimidating, but D-Swizzle, isn't that intimidating for a rookie to go against maybe one of the idols?
Look, I think he's going to get a thrill out of it, to be honest. I think it's, there's, if they're made of, something special, I think they'll relish the opportunity to go up against the kid. Yeah, that's the killer mentality.
The last round, he went really hard against the Clippers because he remembered that he had the draft workout for the Clippers, and they kind of promised him that they would draft him. But when the medical came back and it wasn't great, they skipped out on him. So that's something that he held on to. I'm not sure if he's going to have that fight against the Lakers.
Okay. Well, time will tell. First game is on tomorrow, and looking forward to seeing the winner of the Western Conference Series, because look, I think we're going to delve into the East now, but it's wide open to take out the Larry O'Brien this year. Let's take us through to the Eastern Conference Finals matchup.
Yep. So first of all, we had the upset with the Miami Heat and the Bucks. Miami came in, built a wall, not the wall that Trump wants to build, but just the basketball wall, which always stops Giannis for the last 2 years. So that was a very clear game plan, and they got through. They just have a gritty team. I was looking up that the Miami Heat are really in a really good situation in terms of having veterans and having young guys, and having a roster where they can actually add more superstars in the years to come. They have a spot for another max contract, right? When I'm thinking about this Miami Heat, I think about the way that the Golden State Warriors were created. You remember when they were first started in terms of having shooters, Curry, Thompson, those guys were on rookie deals.
Yep.
You think about when they started feeling the ball, and then they got the championship. When they got the championship, it was based on the roster that was kind of it was perfect timing, like the perfect storm. They had all these young guys playing well on cheap contracts, and had all the veterans doing all their jobs. So that's Miami, and then their opponents are the Celtics. They came through a tougher round, 7-game series against Raptors, which I chose. Game 7 was a clincher, and Celtics got through. Since then, we've had the 2 first games. Game 2 was today, at the original time of this filming. The first 2 games were classic Heat games.
Oh man,
classic Heat games. Like what I mean by classic Heat games is it's Pat Riley, defense, grit, tough determination, hard work, tough fouls. When you play against the Heat, you're basically going to be in an ice bath for a longer time than you would be playing against anyone else. Their commitment to each other and their team, from coaches all the way down to the 14th, 15th man, or 17th man now that we're in the bubble. They just have confidence in each other. The rookies are shooting like the playoffs are a summer league. They have no fear, and the veterans and the coaches give them the green light. I've never seen anything like this before, where rookies get green lights shooting 3-pointers at clutch times. But they've proven it all year that they can actually make and take their shots. So yeah, that shows the regular season is still counted for. So it took like 70 games this year. They played a certain way, and they continue to play that way, and even get better during the playoffs. And they have their superstar Jimmy Butler, where he wanted to go to the Heat. Like, he didn't want to join a super team. He didn't want superstar teammates. He just wanted to be on a team with guys that play it hard. Like going into training. Remember, he came to training at 3 a.m. in the morning. Tyler Hero was there with him. Tyler Hero wanted to learn from him, wanted to be like him, And now you can see all that hard work for the whole year. It's taking place on court. Like, Tyler Hero is taking a big 3-pointer, and Jimmy's sending a screen. This hasn't been seen in a long time. It's a feel good story. I'm enjoying it. I'm going for the Heat, and they're pretty much. You think about the beginning of the year, no one talked about the Heat. No one.
Yeah.
It wasn't on anyone's radar. If someone said they were, and they weren't a Heat fan, they're lying. So that's where we are. They're up 2-0, and that's meant to be the Celtics home games. There is the home team, but officially the home games. So I see that I see this round going down as a classic Heat organized basketball, where if you're gonna beat them, you have to outwork them. Thoughts, D-Swizzle?
Fun facts. Heat are 14-0 all time when leading the series 2-0. That's in the seven game playoff format. You're feeling pretty confident if you're part of the Heat organization, going up 2-0. 10-1 this postseason. Incredible again. Their leading scorer is Goran Dragic. I mean, incredible. Like, they do share the ball around, like you mentioned, T. They've got rookies who shoot the ball phenomenally well. I mean, Duncan Robinson today got 6 3-pointers. Like, incredible. And they were down by a considerable margin going into the half. Kemba showed up today in the first half, played very well. But then there's this trend. Let's focus in on Celtics a little bit. The Celts, they've been outscored 8 of 9 games in the third quarter. That's a bit, are they losing gas or what's going on there? That's quite a concerning stat if you're a Celtics fan, knowing that you're giving up leads, and they have given up leads in these 2 games. So it's a close series and the margins are very close, but I mean, it's the difference between getting through to the NBA finals, and the Heat are doing all the right things at the right time. Case in point today, Jimmy, 2 big defensive plays, stealing the ball in the fourth quarter today. Amazing. Like it's the commitment, like you mentioned, T, to the defense, the grit and grind, the Pat Riley way, and it's really coming through with this team. And it is a team. Starters to the bench, it's a team.
Definitely. Yeah. Just another stat is they're 2 rookies, not even they're 3-point specialists. They made the rookie first team and second team. Yeah. So Kendrick Nunn, or first team point guard, and their shooting guard Tyler Hero. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Very, very good. Anyone backing the Celtics here? I did pick the Celtics in our last podcast. I'm going to stick with them. Let's go. Bleed green, baby. Bleed green.
I don't think that's going to happen, dude. I mean, look how smart this Miami Heat team is. The first half, you can tell, but I was watching the whole game. Yeah. So the first half, you can tell that Miami was getting a feel of what will happen. Once they got a feel of what happened, for the third and the fourth quarter, they played zone defense. And it was over. It was done. Boston had no answer. And I don't know if you heard, but there was rumors that the Boston team actually went off in the locker room and started yelling and throwing stuff at each other. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But
post game.
No, today's game, second game.
Yeah. That's what I mean. After the game.
Yeah. I think Marcus Smart was the head honcho for that. But like again, it's a tribute to Pat Riley's acquisition of Jimmy Butler. He's there to impact winning, not to lead scoring or anything like that, but to impact winning. And the guy has really done a great job. And they've acquired him to be what Pat Riley said. Well, just be you. Now, a lot of GMs won't let you say that to you. You know what I mean? But apparently, like Minnesota and Chicago, they had to control Jimmy, but they let Jimmy be Jimmy in Miami, and it's flourished. And the fruit has blossomed. So great job to Pat Riley for acquiring him, because he is grit, Jimmy Butler. I have more respect for him now, because I really didn't realize how good this guy is, but he's impacted the whole team, from first through up to 15, 16, 17 on the rest. Man, they've done a great job. Defense especially, unbelievable.
I mean, you did mention team, right? I still think that Jason Tatum is the best player in the series. That's my view. I think he's the best player in the series.
He's very consistent, yes.
However, the team as a whole is giving up leads, and they're also got. I don't think they're as deep as Miami. You're seeing that as well. They're relying upon Tatum. I don't think Brown has played up to his best in this series so far. Kemba's only starting to warm up, and Kemba needs to be really, really carrying this team as well.
That's right.
Smart's had a good first game in the series, but they've got to find contributors, like Miami have found their contributors off the bench.
Yeah, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but because Gordon Hayward was a close comeback today.
Yep.
But hopefully, definitely he'll be in the second game, so that's going to be a boost. Double-digit scorer, previous All-Star, so that's something for the Celts to look forward to. And RJ, if the Celtics, if you were correct with that reporting that the Celtics were throwing things around the locker room, it's basically just showing their heart, right? It's showing that this is not the way they want to go out. Usually when a team goes like that, the next game, hopefully they will show some heart and compete with the Heat for sure.
I mean, they both games, they could have, should have, would have won. Like,
That's right.
but for a Bam Adebayo block at the end on Tatum in the first game.
Which is one of the greatest blocks I've ever seen. To be honest.
Yeah, of course. But for, but for that,
one off. Is it
LeBron's blocking Game 7 is still number
out.
one. I'm sorry, dude. You cannot ignore that block. That's one of the greatest blocks ever. I would put number one.
Sure. That's what I was compared it to. I just wanted to make sure that you were in line.
Mate. So it's going to be an interesting series. Anyone picking? Because I think the games are quite close and closer than what people 2-0 up. I still give Boston a really good chance of winning this because the games have been close. They haven't been blowout games. Anyone picking a sweep here or a convincing Miami victory?
I'll give Miami 5-1.
5-1.
I reckon it'll be 6. So it'll be 6 games. It'll be 4-2.
Yeah. All right. Let's segue into some awards that NBA teams have been announced. All NBA first team. I don't think there's any surprises here. LBJ, Giannis, AD, Harden, and Doncic all have had stellar seasons. Put up some monster numbers. Really good popcorn stats all throughout the board through all of them. Any disputes here, gents, on who made the first team? Or anyone, who could have been in the second team that could have made the first team? Any surprises?
Bringing it up.
Go, T.
Oh, no, you go ahead, JJ. I'm just bringing it up on my screen.
I just think, to be honest with you, it's a very tough call because it's very, very fine line, but I would have Dame go up on the first team, to be honest with you. I think he's had a great season this year. Probably one of his best seasons.
Taking whose place? Doncic. Because it's two guards and the sports. So the way it works, and I'm sure everyone knows this, is the all NBA teams are selected by a global panel of 100 sports writers and broadcasters. People get a choice of 2 guards, 2 forwards, and 1 center. First, all people chosen in the first team get 5 points, second 3 points, and for the third team 1 point. And then the rankings happen. Unanimous votes this year were LBJ and Giannis, both all scoring out of the 100 votes, max 5 points for the first team selection. So, it's look. I note what you say about Lillard, who made the second team. I mean, Lillard put up some really good numbers this year: 30 points, 4.3 rebounds, 8 assists, 1.1 steals. But equally so, I mean, Doncic nearly put up a triple-double: 28.8 points, 9.4 rebounds, 8.8 assists, and 1 steal per game. So I have my personal view, I have no qualms about the first team. I think the first team are the 5 players that deserve to be in the first team based on the regular season.
How about Harden? Like the question, I guess, around Harden is about his lack of defense. He did play more defense this year.
That's right.
But it was up and down. I didn't feel it was consistent. You think about all the other, I guess, the forwards like AD, LeBron, and then you got Giannis. You don't even question their defense, right? And
However, Harden, 34.3 points. Everyone knows he can score. 6.6 rebounds. He's a good rebounder. 7.5 assists. Here's the teller: 1.8 steals a game. Who's not playing?
Steals.
Who's not playing defense if you're getting 1.8 steals per game? Shit, he's averaging more steals than AD, who was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
Depends what kind of steals you're getting, but if
He's
it's
still
gamble,
getting steals.
if it's gamble steals, and then you're just leaving your team behind just to get scored on. Yeah, so the games I watch, like I've seen a couple of Rockets games, I see him when he's wrapped in and blocking that 3-pointer to win the OK series was great.
Yeah.
He picks and chooses. It's more than he's done in the past.
Let's put it this way. I'm just gonna keep it real. He had more steals on average than all the players on the All NBA first team.
Here we go.
Hard to believe.
Gotta give love to the beard. All right. Take it away for the second team, guys. Come on.
All right. I'll talk about the second team, right?
Yeah.
So who are we in the second team? So you got Dame Time, which we mentioned.
Yep.
Damian Lillard. Chris Paul.
Yep.
Kawhi.
Yep.
And you got Spicy P.
Yep.
So Siakam and you got the Joker.
Yeah.
That's the all second team. Yeah.
I agree with that team. That's a good team. That's a good second team.
But would you put Spicy P, I guess, in front of Tatum and Jimmy?
We're talking regular season here, though. This is what it comes down to.
True.
Regular season, tough calls though, because just on going through the stats, Tatum and Siakam have very similar stats. So that was a line ball call. Siakam 22.9 points, 7.3 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1 steal, almost 1 block a game, and Tatum very similar numbers. They're almost mirroring each other. Tatum's just got a little bit better percentage in steals, and I would have thought that it would have been a line ball decision. I mean, do you take Kawhi out because he didn't play as many games? I mean, that's the.
Did he qualify?
Always been,
because we talk about Rookie of the Year, right?
Yeah.
And you have to play enough games to qualify.
Yeah, that's right. That should be the same application for that too.
Yeah, but he's obviously qualified. He's played enough games.
But let's not talk about Kawhi now. I mean, he disappeared in the playoffs. So, anyway, that's cool.
Yep. Look, I've got my personal opinion on the second team is I like that team. I reckon they'd give the first team a run for their money. Let's play some pickup ball on that. Yeah.
You're right, actually, yeah.
Third team, Jay?
Yeah, third team, I've got guard is Ben Simmons, guard is Russell Westbrook, the forwards are Jason Tatum and Jimmy Butler, and the center's Rudy Gobert. So, pretty good team. I think it's a quite good third team, to be honest with you. I mean,
you looking at Westbrook? Because I'm looking at Westbrook.
I'm hesitating at Westbrook too, to be honest with you. I think he didn't have quite a good year this year, to be honest with you. To replace him with who?
Chris Middleton.
Middleton. Really?
Yeah. Chris Middleton was the next forward. You look at the guards. You got Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal had a good season for Washington, but they didn't win much. And then you got Kyle Lowry. I don't think he deserved to be. And then you got Donovan Mitchell, but it's kind of hard to think about the regular season, right? Because we're in the playoffs now. Yeah. Like, you think about sports people and their memories. Like, you really have to go back and take notes every game, and that's what the voters usually do. They take notes every game, so they remember who played the best game during that time. And they tally it up. You hope so, anyway. Yeah.
Look, just on, we always compare. We always set the bar high, I think, for Westbrook because of his phenomenal stats, averaging triple doubles over many years. But not a bad statistical year for him at 27.2 points, 7.9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1.6 steals. So, the numbers are there to merit selection in an all NBA team. Possibly even, his stats are better than Chris Paul's. But this is where the winning percentage is coming in and the influence and on the sports writers and broadcasters about how these teams should be formed, because clearly on a numbers basis, Westbrook has better numbers to be in the second team than Chris Paul, but Chris Paul had a phenomenal year leading a very young team, under strength team as well on paper.
His impact on winning is huge for OKC.
Yeah, exactly. But with all these, all NBA teams, there's always a debate about, who should be in, who should be out. But clearly, these 15 players are the best players in the league. Lots to say about those players putting up popcorn stats on bad teams. I could think of one in particular in Trae Young, who's had a great statistical year, but playing for one of the worst teams in the league. Does not merit, an All NBA selection, but he'll have his time.
Of course,
no doubt. The Hawks next season will do better and fare better as the years go along.
Are you sure?
Oh no, they'll play better than this year.
One more win than this year.
Well, they'll get another draft pick, so
Ooh,
I think
depends on who they get, I guess.
Well, they've got a very young team, but we'll get to the Hawks. Sometime in the future. But right now, we're focusing on the playoffs, the Final Four. Anyone wavering on their... I mean, you two guys are obviously backing the Lakers to win the Larry O'Brien. Miami, serious shot in the East to challenge the West.
Yeah, after seeing today how they play and how they're together, and just looking at their demeanor during the playoffs, they're a team to reckon with. Like, if you win a championship over Miami, you have to earn it. They're not going to give it to you. We see that the Celtics are giving up big leads. So if the Celtics get through and play the Lakers or Denver, then you're pretty much going to think about they're not going to battle. They're not going to be so tough. Like, you can come back. You can be down 20, and the Celtics, you can come back. But with Miami, 20-point lead will be 40 points, because just about the defense and the grit, they're not going to give up. So that's my thoughts with that. RJ?
My preview will be the Miami Heat versus the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers will win 4-2. Sorry,
I'll be difficult and I'll go Nuggets and the Celtics, because I just want to be different.
Oh, wow. Do you work for the TAB? Okay, fair enough.
I just want to be different. And I really think that series will come to fruition. But this is what the Shooters Roll is about. You call it as you see it, and I'm calling it as I see it. So, yes, until next time, guys, it's going to be lots going to happen. But we will keep our listeners in tune with what is going down in the NBA. And to everyone listening out there in the digital world, we thank you for your support of our passion project here at the Shooters Roll. Please keep following us and our content on YouTube and also on the podcast platforms, wherever you find all good podcasts. Look, thanks, gents. Keep on shooting. I know it's going to keep rolling in. This is going to be great. The coming to the conclusion of the season. I'm really excited. Like, who would have thought that this season would finish? And there's not a big turnaround time until the next season. But until we get there, I'm really excited about how this season's going to pan out.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. I agree with that. Yeah.
And just some last notes was, we planned this year was going to be big because Golden State Warriors weren't involved. The last couple of years has been really boring by the super team. This year, so many teams had a chance to win the championship. So it's coming to fruition. Great job in the NBA, creating the bubble, and crowning a winner, hopefully. Just make sure that the players just make sure that they don't sneak any more girls in the rooms.
We all know what happens there.
Unauthorized.
They lose series. So for the Final Four, it's going to be a really, really tough series for both the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, but we'll all be tuning in, as I'm sure all of you out there will also. So until next time, we're the Shooters Roll, the basketball media brand made by fans for the fans. See you.
Hey guys.